Hello everyone, and welcome to the quick run through on how to use Monitor My Watershed. In this, we'll be going over the most effective way to use Monitor My Watershed, for instance in a classroom, or if you're just using it as a citizen scientist, the best way to go about using the platform. So when you first log on to Monitor My Watershed, you'll be greeted here. If you haven't already and are interested in signing up to make an account, you can sign up here or here. However, it's not needed in order to be able to access all of the information. So that's an optional step. If you're planning to upload information, then you will need to create an account. But like I said, to access it, it's not necessary. So the first thing we're going to do is move over to Browse Sites. And it may take a while to load. So when you click on Browse Sites, you'll be prompted with a screen that looks like this. Over here in the corner is the legend of how old and how recent the data was uploaded to each specific site. Here, you can clear the different filters applied, and further down, you can see different filters that you can apply while looking through Monitor My Watershed. First window you'll see is data types, so you can sort through Enviro DIY or leaf pack information, different organizations that you could be a part of, and then under that is different types of sites you could possibly be looking for. So, for the purpose of our activity, I'll pick a site that's around me. So we'll go with Pike Creek. And we can let's pick this one here. We'll pick a site that's Pike Creek Independent School. When you click on the specific site you're interested in, you'll be given this pop-up window that gives you the site code, site name, latitude, longitude, elevation, and latest measurement recorded. We can view more data from the site by clicking View Data for this site. So then when you click on View Data, you'll look at a site that looks like this. So they'll give you the name and the code of the site. They'll give you a map on the right-hand side of the location of the specific site that you're looking at and where the information is being collected from, as well as a bunch of other information, including deployment date, who deployed it, and a bunch of other information you can access. A general note, when it goes and you see notes down here, if you see SL and then a series of numbers, that indicates that the specific site in question has a Stroud logger that is collecting the data from, so SL, Stroud logger, and the number of the specific site, or the specific thing going along with the logger. So then if you continue to scroll down, you'll see observations at this site. So in here is where a lot of important information comes in. So if you're interested in downloading all information from the specific site available, you can click Download Sensor Data. If you're interested in launching Time Series Analyst with all of the different variables at the site, you can click this arrow here, the little box with the arrow pointing it, and it will lead you to Time Series Analyst where you can select all variables for this specific site. If you continue to scroll down, you'll find graphs and pieces of cells of information that include the variable we're looking at, a graph of the last 72 hours worth of data, the most recent data point, the medium in which the site or the sensor is in, and the specific name of the sensor. So for instance, here we're looking at water depth. So this shows the water depth values for the last 72 hours. And indicate the most recent value was 107.7 millimeters. The medium of material or the sensor is in is a liquid, and the specific sensor name is Decon CTD 10 electrical conductivity temperature depth sensor. So that indicates whether or what sensor is being used to be able to collect that data. Also, specifically, if you're interested in learning more about the specific variable shown on the page, you have three different options. You can click on this button here, which was the same as before, and it opens that specific variable in Time Series Analyst, so you can look at just that single value on its own on a graph. You can download the data specifically for that one variable that you're looking at, or you can hit the little table that says View Data Table, and it will show you the data for the past 72 hours. So it'll show you on a table the information of this graph here. And then you'll see whatever site you have, there's a bunch of different information being presented. The other option is it's not available for this site. However, if a site contains LeafPad network data, it'll be portrayed here as well. So if you are interested in finding out more about all the different types of sensors or all the information available from the sensor at this site, we can click Time Series Analyst, and it will load directly to the place where it will show you the different variables on the site and whether or not you choose to graph them or not. So when opening Time Series Analyst, it can take a long time, or a longer period of time, depending on how long the site has been available and the amount of information that your computer is having to process in order to get those graphs up. So if it takes a few minutes or a few seconds, that is to be expected, and don't be alarmed. You'll be prompted with something that looks like this. So if you're interested in plotting what the water depth is, for instance, you can scroll down to the variable name and look for water depth, and then select that particular plot. By checking this, that means you tell the computer that you want to see this specific variable on a graph. And from there, you'd hit visualization. Similar to loading when we load Time Series Analyst, this may also take a while depending on how long the sensor has been up. So once you've done that and it loads, you'll be presented with a graph of information on that specific variable you selected. So things to notice right away is on the right-hand side, the user is able to enter in specific times to view information. So a user is able to view the information for the entire time that the sensor has been open, which I'll load for you guys now. There we go. So you can choose to view the data from the entirety of the sensor collecting data. You can collect the last month worth of data, and you can collect the last week of data and show it on this graph. And to do that, you can select the thing you're looking to see. So for instance, we could hit last month, and then we would hit plot. And then it would refresh the page showing you the information of the time frame, the beginning and end that you were looking for. People are also able to enter in custom dates. So if you were interested in finding the water depth between the last 10 days, you can include that here. So the end date is today, and we could go back and put in a custom date. So we could pick the 1st or the 20th if we wanted to do 10 days. And then you're able to also select the type of visualization you want to see. So the default when you log into or you pull up Time Series Analyst is time series. And this is the kind of graph that you'd be looking at. Other options for visualization include histograms and box and whisker plots. However, for the point of this tutorial, we'll be showing you the Time Series Analyst, or the time series part of Time Series Analyst. If you're to scroll down, you'll see the legend available here. So in the legend here, there's only one variable selected that we picked from the Datasets tab up here. So it shows only one specific value or variable that we're graphing. However, if you were to pick up to the different 5 that you're selected, the color will always stay consistent throughout the graphing process, regardless of what the variable is. So for instance, if we had 5 different variables that we were graphing, the first variable will always be blue, the second variable will always be orange, the third will always be green, the fourth will always be red, and the fifth will always be purple. And then if we were to scroll down further, you're presented with summary statistics. So one of the reasons the site takes a little while to load is whatever custom time frame you put in, the Time Series Analyst will automatically come up with summary statistics about the specific time frame that you gave. So right now, the summary statistics you are seeing are from the entirety of the sensor being active. So we were able to determine the average mean of the water depth. They also give the maximum data point, the minimum data point, the standard deviation, and the bell curve information if you were to try to set up a bell curve with the amount of data points from left to right. So from that 0% all the way up to that 100% benchmark. And then it gives the total number of observations collected by the sensor. So that's enough of the information on the right. So right directly in front of you will be a graph. So like I said, the graph that you're seeing now is the variable for water depth for the Pike Creek site at Independence School for the entirety that the sensor has been active. On here, you can scroll using your touchpad or your mouse over to try and locate specific data points. So if we were interested in finding and looking at this particular peak, we could drag our mouse over to where this peak is, and it will give us a data value and when exactly the data was collected. So if we were to pick this site here, that particular data point was 185 millimeters and was collected on July 29th, 2019 at 10:35 p.m. If you're interested in learning more about a specific time frame, so for instance, if you were interested in learning about the summer of 2019, there's a smaller graph down below where you can drag and click. So with your left, if you're on a laptop, a left click and your keypad. If you're with a mouse, and your left click and the mouse. You can select time on this little bar down here, and it will highlight that specific time frame that you're looking for and then show it on this main graph. So you'd have all the data available, but you're focusing in specifically on that time frame. If you were to put it in here instead, it would only show that specified time frame and not pull from all the information. So if you're looking to look at a specific trend while still looking at all of the information, you'd use that nifty drag and click option that I just showed you. Then you still have our same graph here. You're able to control and edit the variables on the bottom either by zooming in like we did here or manipulating the beginning and end dates, so the beginning date and the end date on the x-axis. So you're also able to zoom in and out on the y-axis as well. So if you're using a regular mouse, you can left click and then zoom in or zoom out to zoom in on the y-axis. However, if you have a computer or a laptop, the best way that I've found to do it is if you wish to zoom in, hit Control and then double click on the y-axis, and it will zoom in and make the increments smaller, which you can continue to do until you found the increment that you're looking for. And to then zoom out, you can hit Shift and click twice, which will bring you out as well. If you're interested in looking at multiple data sets or multiple variables other than the one you already selected and you want to go back, you can hit Data Sets, and it'll bring you back to the original plot where you can choose to add more variables. So you can choose to add these, and then you can hit Visualize again, and then you can go and you'll be presented with the graph with multiple variables on it. So if you were interested in graphing with multiple variables, what the software will do is auto-generate different y-axes that fit the data best given that particular variable, and you can zoom in and out just like we did previously with the one variable. If we go back to data sets, if you are done viewing the specific information you want from that specific site and you want to look at other options, it's similar to how Browse Sites works under Monitor My Watershed, is you can select filters that you're interested in. So for now, it says that we're still interested in that Pike Creek School Independence. So we can unclick that. And it'll show you all the different sites and information available for all of the information available on time series Analyst. So for instance, if we wanted to look through and navigate on the map, the first category we can select is network. From there, we can select specific sites. If you're interested in locating a specific site, unlike the Browse Sites option menu, you aren't able to search it. So you can click Show More and then Control F to locate it. You can also scroll down, and the next category will be variable category. You could check water quality, and then from there, you're able to select the specific name of a variable that you're interested in. So for instance, if you're looking at a specific variable category, you could check water quality, and then you could pick a site or a specific variable that you wish to look at. So we could look at the turbidity here. And then we could select visualization, and then giving it some time to process, it will generate a graph for the previous information. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I hope this helps. Hope you have a good day.